What's going on, guys? Balkan Architect here, and in this tutorial I'm going to be talking about schedules in Revit, and I'm going to be sharing these 5 amazing tips for schedules in Revit. So the first tip that I'm going to be sharing with you is how to just select one field in the schedule and then highlight that in model, and how can Revit find the best view in which that element from the schedule is basically located or viewed, and then Revit will just open up that view. It's a really cool tool. Moving on, I'm going to be talking about the cost and the material cost parameters, because these two parameters sound quite similar, but they are very different and they affect different things, so you should never mess these up. So you should never use the wrong parameter in a wrong formula. So I'm just going to be explaining the difference between these two. Moving on, something a bit more fun, I'm going to be talking about how to customize the color and the fonts of your schedules, just to make them look fun and interesting, and how to highlight all of the important information that you want to highlight. Moving on, I'm going to be talking about the note block schedule. This is a very cool schedule that not many people are talking about, but it's really amazing because it allows you to organize your project notes in a efficient and elegant way that doesn't mess up your model when you have a lot of text over your floor plans and sections. Nobody wants that, so this is a cleaner, more elegant and efficient way of displaying notes for your model. So I'm going to be sharing that as well. But before we get into that tutorial, just one thing, I would like to ask you to like and share this tutorial. It helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. Also, make sure to subscribe. I make useful Revit tutorials each week, and I make multiple tutorials, and I do one 1-hour advanced course. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I did a 3-hour course on schedules, so it's this topic. And if you're interested in checking it out, or any of my other courses, or all of my Revit project files, check out my Patreon. First, a link in the description of this video. Okay, so without any further ado, let's get into the tutorial. I'm going to start off by talking about one of the tools that often come overlooked, and it's a very useful tool, and that's the option to highlight in model. So once you're in a schedule just like this, you get this Modify Schedule Quantities tab, which has all of the tools and features that are for, well, modifying your schedule quantities. Now, if you select one of the rows here, and in this case, I'm just working with a simple room schedule. So here we have all of the rooms divided or sorted by the level on which they're on. So let's say we go here to the first level, and here we have this office number 3, and let's say I'm not really sure what is office number 3. Maybe I want to change some of the finishes here or something like that. So if I'm not sure where this is inside of the model, I can easily find it by going here and hitting the Highlight in Model button. Now, once I click this button, it's going to open up a view in which this is visible, or in which Revit finds this, well, the best view for showing this particular element, or the particular selected element in the schedule. In this case, that's this office number 3, and as you can see, it has opened up that view and highlighted that particular room. Now, what Revit is going to do is going to give you this Show Elements in View pop-up, and it says click on the Show button multiple times for different views. So perhaps it's a wrong view, especially if you're working with some model elements, like maybe some doors or chairs or window panels, something like that. It might pick out a wrong view where you can't really make out where is the element. So in that case, you just click here on Show, and then Revit is going to open up additional views where it sees that element. Here it has opened up a ceiling plan view or something like that, or just another view. So here, if I click again, now this is another view where it highlights that. So I can click Show as many times as I want, so Revit will just keep opening up views in which Revit thinks you will see that element. Now I'm just going to cancel out of this and close of the rest of the views. Now, this is sometimes going to work really good, but sometimes, for example, here, if I go with this panel schedule and select one of these panels and then click Highlight in Model, and then let's continue. As you can see, it can open up a weird view where you are not really sure where the panel is. So for example, here it has opened up a site plan, which is a terrible view to view your selected element. Maybe if I just switch to the 3D view, and then if I maybe orbit around, I can find that element a bit differently. So it has highlighted it model, so it means it was selected. So what I can do is just go to the default 3D view, right click here in empty space, and then select previous. And as you can see, it's going to highlight that model. So this is a bit of a way that you can work around or hack the system so you can find that element in the view where you want to view it. So you have that option as well if the highlight and model button doesn't give you a satisfying result. Now let's move to the second tip, and that's going to be creating a note block schedule. So if I go here to views, and then I navigate here to the Create tab, and here I have Schedules. If I just open up that menu, you will see that here I have this option for a note block schedule. Now, what this schedule is for is, well, for blocking out your notes. Well, what does that mean? So, for example, here I have this office building floor plan that I'm going to be using for this demonstration. And I'm just going to zoom in here to the restroom area, and you will see that here I have left a note to a fictional colleague of mine. So here, as you can see, I have written out a note that's particular for this area over here. It has a little leader that just basically shows what the note is referring to, but the problem is it's a quite large note, and depending on the complexity of the issue that you're trying to point out, this can get, well, it can get even longer. And the problem is that this note is, as you can see, blocking out a significant portion of our model, so it can be quite annoying to work around this. And if I just move it out of the way, as you can see, we have a whole wall and a bunch of fixtures here, and that's it's annoying the fact that we're covering it up with this dumb note. So let me show you a more efficient way to leave notes on your projects using that note block schedule. Now here, what I have just above that is a little note family. Now this note family has just two parameters. The first parameter is the note number, and the second one is the note text. So what I'm going to do is just select this little note family, add a little leader. So as you can see here, we have a leader. I'm just going to move it to the same spot here, maybe like that. There we go. And also, just to match this arrowhead, because I like the little circle, I'm just going to go here into edit type and match that, make it look like this. Hit apply. Okay. Now, to learn more about these arrowheads and, of course, in depth how I've created this family, you can check out the courses for schedules in Revit that I have. It's a 3-hour course. Also, you can check out the 12-hour course on how to construct this whole office building in Revit. But anyways, moving on, let's take a look at just this little family. And of course, you can also download your family on my Patreon. First link in the description. There you can find both of the courses as well as this family. Okay, so now let's see how this family works. I'm just going to rename this or change the number. I'm just going to click here and change it to number 1. There we go. So now this is a note number 1. Now also I'm going to go ahead and select this text over here if I can, because it's extremely difficult to select. And I'm just going to copy the whole text. So just type in Control-C to copy. And then let's go back, select this family, and then type here Control-V to paste. Okay, so I have pasted that text over here. So the whole text, of course, it's kind of hard to fit it in here, but I have pasted it here, and it is located in this note text field. And now, in order to view that note, what I have to do is just go here to the View tab, go to Schedules, create a new note block schedule. I'm going to select the note family that I'm using for the family, click OK. Next, I'm going to select the note number as well as the note text, and then just click OK. And as you can see, it will give you this note block schedule. Now here, we just have this simple note, but of course you can type in even, or you can open it up and see how large it is, and also you can just go ahead and then place this note block next to your floor plan on your sheet, and then it would make it a bit easier to just basically place all of your notes in one place. So now I can just select this, right click, let's go ahead and create similar, place one over here. This will be note number 2. And for this one, let's delete the whole text and type something in new note, apply, okay, and also let's add a leader. Let's say this is referring to the door or something. And now if we just go back to the node block schedule, here we have that new node. And now you can just go ahead and find a sheet. So let's take a look at this sheet. I'm just going to delete this. Let's find that floor plan. Here it is. Okay, that's quite a large floor plan, but anyways, so here we have that floor plan, and then we can just find that node schedule that I have created. Let's see, here's that node block schedule, and as you can see, you can just place it here on next to the model, and then you can just use that in order to kind of categorize all of your nodes and make it a bit easier to read. So you can now just go back to that floor plan view and get rid of the original text node. And as you can see, this is a lot cleaner, and then when you place it on a sheet, it is a lot easier to read. For the next step, I'm going to be talking about the two different cost parameters that are associated with material takeoff schedules that people tend to misunderstand. So let me just go ahead here to schedules, and then I'm going to create a new material takeoff schedule. So I'm just going to go to view, schedule, material takeoff, and then for the category, I'm just going to be creating a simple wall schedule. And then for the fields, let's just include the family and type. And then just because I'm trying to explain the difference between the cost and material cost, I'm just going to include those two parameters. So let's go to cost and then material cost as well. And I'm just going to click OK. Okay, so once we have created this, we're going to start entering some costs. So first, let's expand the just the family and type field a little bit, just so I know what am I working with and which walls I'm working with. So here we have the structural exterior wall 500 millimeter, and then let me just go here and change the let me go ahead and change the cost for this. So I'm just going to type in some number, maybe 123, for example. Now for the material cost, let's just click OK. Now for the material cost, I don't know which material of this wall is this material cost referring to. So what I have to do is enter another field. So let me go here to properties, go to fields, and then let me add a material name field. That's also important. And let's bring it up a little bit. There we go, click OK. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is just go ahead and change the price for the cast in place concrete, and let's type in 321 just so we can understand the difference between these two numbers. Okay, as you can see, once we made the change here, it applies to all of the concrete materials down the line. But anyways, let's now go back to the model and let's see how this change affects our model. So what I'm going to do is just select this wall and then go to highlight in model. And let's just close out of this. Now, as you can see that's referring to this wall over here. And now I can go here into edit type. And if I scroll a bit down, you will see that under identity data for cost, we have 123. So that cost parameter is referring to the cost of the wall family and the wall type. So this 123, or the cost parameter, is referring to the type of this wall. But if I go here to structure, go into edit, find that concrete material and go there, you will see now that the cost of the material is here under identity. So this is the material cost is 321. So this is referring to the material cost, and that first just regular cost parameter is referring to the cost of the wall family. So just keep that in mind when calculating materials and their cost. Make sure that you're using the correct parameter. Now for the fourth tip, let's talk about customizing the color of our schedule. So here, once you select any of the fields in the schedule, you have the option to change the font. So I can just go ahead here and change the font, maybe make it bold, make it a bit larger, maybe add a font color like this dark blue, click OK. OK again, and as you can see now it changes the font. Also, you can change the whole field. If you just click there and then go into shading, you can change the background of the field to maybe a light blue. So as you can see, now we have a different color there. Now you can also do the same thing for your whole columns. So maybe for this first column, I can just change the shading to maybe some light gray, click OK, and then if I just deselect, as you can see, this is in light gray. And then for the material cost, we can change the shading to maybe yellow, click OK. There we go. Also, you can change these whole fields and then maybe change the text here. You can go to font, change it to maybe a different font, maybe Century Gothic, also bold, click OK. So you can make some custom changes directly in the schedule just by using some of these appearance tools over here. Also, you can merge some of these schedules. So here we can just select the select this field or select the both fields like this. So you have to go to the deselected field and then just drag over, and then we can group those fields and let's just call them cost. Cost of wall. So these are the two fields that are referring to the cost of wall, and then I can just select this field or click in this field, drag over to make a selection of both of these, and then maybe we can change the vertical alignment to middle just to make it look a bit more natural. So there you go. This is how you can customize your schedules in order to add color or maybe group some elements or change the font. And finally, for the fifth tip, I'm going to be showing you how to get rid of some of the fields without deleting those. So the first problem with having additional fields that you don't need is, for example, like this. Here we have a panel schedule for our building. As you can see, it has many window panels or these curtain wall panels, and some of these don't really have a height or a width. So what you can do in order to fix up your schedule so it doesn't include those, you can just go here into filter, and then you can filter by, and then let's filter by maybe height or width, and you can just click here to has a value. So if it doesn't have a value, as you can see, now it drops from the list. And then you can do the same thing here and go with width, and also has a value. Click OK, and now it has gotten rid of some of the other fields. Also, what if you want to get rid of a specific field? So for example, here we have this revolving door, and I don't want to include that in my calculation. So I only want to use regular panels, and here if I go into the 3D view, one of the panels is this revolving door here, just because it has been placed as a panel family, but I just don't want to include it in the schedule. Well, in that case, what you can do is you can go back to the schedule, and then again go to filters. And what I'm going to do here is just go ahead and use the name parameter. But unfortunately, in this case, we don't really have the family and type parameter as an option here for filters. So in that case, what you can use is you can just use one of the exact information here. So for example, the area of this panel or the width of this panel. So for example, the width of the panel is quite larger than the rest of the panels. So what I can do is just go ahead and filter by width, and then I can just type in does not equal, and then here just type this with parameters. So just type in 282.50. And if I just click OK, as you can see, it got rid of that specific panel. So that's how you can kind of hack these schedules so they only include the elements that you want, but you're not deleting the actual elements. You're just filtering them out of your schedules. If I just go back here into the 3D view, as you can see, the revolving door is still there. Okay, so that concludes this quick tips and tricks video on the topic of schedules. I hope you have learned something new and enjoyed this schedule. Now for a more in-depth course, I have a 3-hour course on schedules where I just go over all of the tools and features that Revit has on offer for this very important part of Revit and aspect of our profession. Also, if you want to learn how to model this whole office building, I have a 12-hour course on that where I go in depth into how something like this is built. And all of this can be accessed, all of these courses, as well as all of the project files like this building or these schedules, can be found on my Patreon. So first link in the description takes you there. If you're interested, go take a look and sign up. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for any future tutorials, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.